Perfect. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to our trustee candidate Q&A session today. My name is Katie and I'm the deputy speaker for the SGPS, and I'm joined by our council speaker, Eileen, and our trustee candidate today, Kenna Ogawa. And today what we're doing is providing a bit of an opportunity to introduce the trustee candidate to the SGPS body, and provide an opportunity to ask some questions and inquire a little bit more about the platform that Canada's trying to run with. And before we get into more of our trustee and election information, what we'll start with is a land acknowledgement. So the Society of Graduate and Professional Students recognizes the traditional and ancestral territories of the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee nations on whose lands we gather on today. This land acknowledgement reminds us that rich Indigenous governances still exist and will go into the future. This should also serve as a reminder that we are benefiting by living on this land that is a traditional territory of Indigenous people. So to ultimately start off, what we should talk about is what is the SGPS trustee position. And so a bit of background, if anyone's a little unfamiliar still, the graduate student trustee is elected to a 2-year term to represent graduate and professional students to the Board of Trustees, which is one of the chief governing bodies for Queen's University, responsible for all financial and strategic matters. There are only 3 students who sit on the Board of Trustees, and the only one whose job it is to specifically represent graduate and professional students is the SGPS graduate student trustee. The other individuals on the board who are students represent undergraduate students, and then the rector who represents all students, whereas all other members of the Board of Trustees are individuals who represent university staff, faculty, and/or alumni. And so the Board of Trustees votes on issues ranging from the university's budget to large-scale projects. And so being the graduate student trustee really requires big picture, long-term thinking, as a lot of the issues that are being discussed in the meetings of the Board of Trustees will not come to fruition until long after their time as a student is going to be done. And so with that, I would like to introduce our sole candidate for this year's trustee election. So Kenna Ogawa, if you don't mind just giving us a brief introduction of who you are, a bit of background about your role currently as a graduate student, and why you're interested in this position.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Katie, so much for the introduction. So my name is Kenna Ogawa. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm currently a first-year master's student in the translational medicine program. I just completed my undergraduate education at Queen's as a life sciences major, so I'm very well versed in the student environment and believe that I understand many of the diverse perspectives that the community goes through. And so as I continue my education as a master's student, I wanted to make sure that the voice of my peers continue to be heard, respected, and amplified. And that is the reason why I decided to apply for this position. So being a graduate student trustee is a privilege and an honor. So applying for this role, it's a unique opportunity because you get to frequently engage with many different decision makers of the university and vote for big picture issues that will ultimately impact many future individuals. And in this role, I want to be a representative for all graduate and professional students to push forward changes that would positively impact my community. In the past, I've been involved with student government before as the Arts and Science Undergraduate Society, also known as ASIS Student Council. Last year, I was the Services Commissioner, which is a wonderful opportunity where I got to oversee many of the different services that are available to students offered by ASIS. And there I learned how student government, basically the structure of student government, how it runs, and again, the positive impact that my role can have to others. So I just really wish that I can continue serving the Queen's community, the community that I call home, and see what I can do in this position to help others.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that background. That's really awesome. And so, yeah, I can start us off with maybe just like a couple of questions. Eileen, if you had anything that you were looking to go with, that's okay. So if we just start off with maybe one that I think I came across when looking at some of your promotional stuff, but thinking about what has been your current relationship with the role of the trustee? So your awareness of the role, how did you find out about it? And what are you looking to do to potentially change the awareness of that position if you are successful in this election?
Yeah, thank you so much for this question. So I guess I'll start off with my awareness of the role. I became aware of the role actually by looking at the SGPS opportunities and what's available for me to join that community. As I mentioned before, I have a strong passion in student government and getting involved with my community. So by looking at the actually positions on the website, that's where I came across graduate student trustee. And I think just researching more about it and learning the importance of it, I realized that this is something that I wanted to try out. And so with that in mind, I believe there is a huge learning opportunity that comes and something that I have to embark on, an education that I have to go through to learn more about what the graduate student trustee does, and to make sure that I am representing all the voices, hearing the perspectives, and really, serving my community.
Perfect. Thank you. Um, Another thing that I wanted to ask was pertaining to the role, even when we describe it, really states that individuals who take on this position need to have large scale changes that they're looking to contribute with in terms of any voting power that the Board of Trustees has or discussions that they're dealing with. And so what are some large scale changes that maybe you could be looking to see at Queen's and would be interested in promoting discussion around if you were elected?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. There's lots of different issues that, or I guess not more issues, but conversations or just topics of discussions that can be pushed forward in these meetings that we have. And one being is food insecurity. This is something that I talked about in my platform as well through social media. But there's a statistic that shows that 50% of AMS food bank users are graduate and professional students. And that just shows how much food insecurity is affecting the Queens community, which again can take shape in many different forms. So that is one issue that I'm passionate about. And I know that, there are things that are being done to combat this issue. For example, there's different initiatives at Queens, Good Times Diner, which is a free takeout meal service that are available for students, as well as the AMS Food Bank, as well as a list of resources that are being conducted and surveys. But I think there still needs to be a push to make sure that there's equitable access to these resources, or to ensure that many barriers that students face are just limited or even just taken away. So food insecurity is one issue that I really hold to my passion. That I really hold close to my heart, and is something that I really want to try to see change, I guess, in a way in these conversations. And again, I believe in these meetings, there's going to be a lot of different topics of discussion. So it'll be really interesting to see what other people bring to the table. But I think whatever issue comes to mind, it's really important for me to educate myself first, and then understand what students feel in terms of their perspectives, and then bring forward my voice as a representative in these meetings.
That's perfect. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I can continue to theorize questions, but I think at this point, we're still waiting on any other participants in this sphere. So maybe, yes, Eileen.
Hey, okay, thank you so much for that. I think you already asked all the kind of big questions there, Katie, but I just wondered, Kenna, you mentioned that you did your undergrad here and you seemed also very involved in all of the undergraduate societies here, but I think as we're kind of shifting more into representing graduate and professional students, what are some efforts and things that you can implement to make sure that right now you are going to be representing like graduate and professional students' interests, which often can be very, very different from the undergraduate student interests, and being mindful of that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So as an undergraduate student, I was able to, I guess, really at Queens, really understand the student perspective, because at the end of the day, I believe that, sometimes you wonder if like your opinions or so are reflective of the overall opinion of just students in general. But then I think I just came to realize that my opinion is also probably the same, or if not very similar to what many students are going through. And I use that as a way to kind of gain back the confidence in that uncertainty that I used to experience. But that's just one aspect. And then again, one of my platforms is making sure that I maintain open communication and transparency with the students so that I fully understand their perspectives and the struggles that they're going through. Because yeah, like it's again really important to gain that confidence and understand that yes, you do experience things and same things people might be going through, but two, it's again important to be knowledgeable and really be able to gain an understanding of everyone. Sorry, that was really not structured in that sense, but yeah, I just hope that I can do that through communication. So I'll be active on social media. I'll make confidential platforms where people can just input their feedback and advice or just any questions or concerns that they have. And I plan to just relay back what I've gained in the meetings that I go through, and the information that I gain to the students, so they are well aware of what is happening as well.
Great, thank you. And just to follow up on that, what are some kind of tangible ways you think that you foresee that you will be able to work with the SGPS executive now and SGPS council, of course. So in what ways do you think you'll be able to work with the executive or council to be able to perform your role as trustee if successful properly?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I think with this trustee role, I'll be having this wonderful opportunity to interact frequently with SGPS. And one thing I want to do is raise awareness to this role. I feel like a lot of people, I mean, I'm the only person that ran for this position. That kind of shows that not a lot of people are aware of this trustee role. So it would be a really cool opportunity for me to be part of the SGPS events that are being conducted, for example, more so on the governance side, and introduce the role, inform students about their capabilities in the decision-making process that occurs in the university, and to let them know that sometimes you can feel powerless, but you do have a voice. So yeah, that's what I would like to do.
Yeah, I think that's a really important reminder too, considering that like as a trustee, the meetings that you'll be sitting on would be like a lot of different interests and different levels of interests too, right? So that's really great. Thank you so much, Nina.
Okay, thank you, Eileen. I would like to extend this opportunity. I guess if you feel, Kenna, that there's anything left that you maybe haven't touched on, if there was a platform point that maybe one of our questions is missed, if there's anything else that you would be remiss if you didn't get out there to the people, please let it be known.
Yeah, well, I just want to say that if I do get elected, I'm very, very excited to start this role and embark on this journey. Again, I want to emphasize that there is a lot of learning that I need to do. For example, before the meetings, it just a lot of, oh, sorry, is there a question? Oh,
No.
okay, sorry. That's good. Yeah, so before the meetings, really educate myself on the topics that are to be discussed. And then really taking time to transition into the role. So I'm very excited for this opportunity, and I hope that people know that they can come to me for whatever questions or concerns that they have, and I will always be here for them to represent them. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today, Kenna. It's been really wonderful getting to speak with you and hear more about your candidacy for this role. And so as we wrap up this meeting, I just want to thank Eileen and Kenna and everyone else who's getting a chance to watch this for your time and your interest in our student democracy. And so I just, as a reminder before we leave, want to highlight our voting days for this election period. So the voting dates are going to be September 19th and September 20th. You will receive your ballot via email to your Queen's email, and that will come from vote@simplyvoting.com. As that is maybe one that you don't receive emails from, make sure you check your junk, check your spam. And if you don't receive the ballot, please contact us at elections@sgps.ca. And so we can make sure that you actually receive your ballot. We will also be sending out all of those instructions to your Queen's email as well. So just check out for those. And happy voting, everybody. Thank you so much.